and speaks to Hillary Clinton on the phone, nearly daily, I should say.
July 22nd.
And so this is how the country is actually ran.
July 23rd, 2020.
But now Kamala is being prepped. Somebody just put on there a message here that she's in Canada. She could be. Yesterday she was not. I can tell you that for a fact. So she's getting ready to take those reins if something goes south.
Coincidental things that have to do with portals and other dimensions.
South. Portals. South Dakotas.
And everything else that they name it all. It's just
July 9th.
interesting. More interesting is the fact that just recently, everybody's been talking about this. The green skies. Who in the chat thought the green skies were because of CERN? We got 1,400 people watching, and I gotta give you credit. Almost 900 likes. I give you credit for that. I appreciate it. If we can get over 1,000
Green
likes,
skies.
I would be
South
thrilled.
Dakota.
That would get a lot of people.
Before
But how many
Jericho
people saw
swept
the green skies
the state.
over Dakota?
South.
Is that something that people were interested in? I certainly was. I thought it was.
So right before Jacob Israel was talking about South Dakota and the skies being green, before Derek goes sweeps through it, then right before that he was talking about portals.
And notice the storm is like right above. I don't have a map to CERN, but it's very, Alice. They have all of these very strange coincidental things that have to do with portals and other dimensions and everything else that they name it all. It's just interesting. More interesting is the fact that just recently,
Guys, he's talking about the portals, and these are in South Dakota. Where this Hoover Dam looking design, a shadow, a type in shadow of it, like water flow. Looks like water is overflowing inside of the building and flooding out because the elevation goes down. This area. 13 days ago, weeks, started to do everything about Mount Rushmore. So it's all about Mount Rushmore. Rushmore, Mount Rushmore. To make sure that Mount Rushmore is in the title, because in the future it's easier for me to find it. Just type that in to go back. Mount Rushmore, because everything starts tying together. It looks like Mount Rushmore seems to be the spot, Mount Gilboa. It's all about being on top of the mountain. I will build my church on the rock. Rock foundation. So this church. Are there people in here? Probably. It looks like 2x4. It looks like metal studs. Hold on, wait. Hold on, George. Open back up. Come on. Let me see what's going on inside there. He said, "Who seeth us and who can see?" I'm given X-ray vision inside the makings of the walls, X-ray walls, because I heard people were talking about me behind these walls. Let's see you here. Yeah, right. You can see the door right behind it. I can literally see right through George Washington's head. And that door is right there. That's pretty amazing. You can see that doorway. Look, there's the doorway. Here's George's nose. Look inside his brain, see what he's thinking. There you go. There's the doorway, right there. Maybe that's like the path to go down inside of his head. I'm on the outside. I'm looking in. I can see you. See your true color.
As I was driving, I looked up and I was just talking to the Lord, and I saw that Starbucks, and I said, Lord, you know, that prophetic utterance, I don't really understand some of the words, and I don't understand how if Barack Obama is the man of two faces, because I don't understand. And I heard him immediately in my spirit, I heard, you know what it is.
Could also be death and hell. There's two faces on George Washington. This direction. And beavers build dams. Water that flows over. Hills. Sideways. Boa constrictor. Man of two faces could also be father and son, like on the same channel. E. Jonathan Fleck channel. Father and son. And then also son and the tail. The turtle.
So terrifying to me. You better, because if you don't, God has something to say for those of you who don't have this. Well, that ain't scary to me. You should, because God will make sure you do get scared if you don't have the fear of the Lord. That's what. Today, you're going to remember what I taught you tonight, and one day you're going to be saying Revelation 6, and you're going to cry out to be stoned to death. You're going to actually cry out for the mountains to blow up and to fall on you. actually cry out for the mountains to blow up and to fall on you, you'll be thankful to be stoned to death rather than meeting God. You're going to cry that out one day. You don't believe me? Look at Revelation 6, verse 16. Verse 15, what is 15? The kings of the earth, right? These are big shots. Great men, rich men, chief captains, mighty men. What did they do? They cowered and whimpered at verse 16 and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. That's how scary God is. You can't even stand the sight of him. Go to 1 Samuel 5. Look at Revelation 6. You might say, no, I don't fear God, and wait till the time comes. You will. One day, you're going to remember what I taught you tonight, and one day, you're going to be saying Revelation 6, and you're going to cry out to be stoned to death. You're going to actually cry out for the mountains to blow up and to fall on you. You'll be thankful to be stoned to death rather than meeting God. You're going to cry that out one day. You don't believe me? Look at Revelation 6. See every one of you panic, go, ah! Like that. You act like an idiot after that, and you're like, I ain't scared of God. Do you realize a cataclysmic event like that is God's presence itself? And you think that, I'll tell God a thing or two? You nuts. All right. They don't know God. Look at Exodus 20. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off, and they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die. There.
So that mountain, because these four heads that are on here, it's like they were beheaded and placed on top of a mantle. Saying it's kind of like no different when a hunter hunts a deer and shoots it with a bow and arrow and kills it and then eats it and then takes it, chops its head off and mounts it on the wall. Earthquake. A major earthquake. Now, I've said fire from heaven, where it could be some kind of meteorite, some kind of a missile, airplanes really, or holographic images and bombs set up, or falling stars, comets, lightning. It would have to be a strong lightning to split this mountain in two. But an earthquake on Mount Rushmore, it wouldn't be considered a second 9/11 if it was an earthquake, because that's an act of God. There's no second 9/11 title to that. Today is July 23rd, 2022, 10 p.m. There's no second 9/11 title unless the mountain that's split in two isn't really the mountain that's going to be split in two, but because Petco 2 shows you the bombings looking like it at the football stadium. Barack Obama was at the Lincoln Financial Field, and Abraham Lincoln is over here on this mountain. He already has a wounded head. He's already been leaking. He has a wounded head right here. And he has a bullet hole in the back of his head. And then the same thing with Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was shot, and this shows his bullet wound in his head, the back of his head. This is his head. And And there's the blood leaking out of the side of his face. Looking like as he's making a speech in front of a microphone. And it's on top of a mount. So there's like a sermon on the mount. There's Mount Gilboa. There's Mount Rushmore, or Mount Moriah, where all these sacrifices were taking place on the same type of a mountain. They took Christ to a high mountain, showed him all the kingdoms in an instant, and then took him to the very top of the pinnacle. They wanted to throw him down. Maybe right here, they probably know that this is the area to take him to the brow of the hill when they wanted to toss him off. But the events that are coming up, there's George there, points towards Mount Rushmore being the event, according to Gematria as well. That's after 4, 3, 2, 1, be still Robin Henry T's, know that I am Adam and David, Prince of Judah. But Mount Rushmore itself is considered the event. Mount Rushmore, Beaver Moon, Easter Bunny, Beaver Moon, Justin Bieber, beavers build dams. This beaver, I mean, it kind of looks like a moon, similar head, moon head, Beaver Moon, being the event at Mount Rushmore. The Hoover Dam just got hit in the birth canal. So these are birth pains. The explosion that took place, the Georgia Guidestones got exploded. 4 of them, 4 headstones. This is the headstone with these 4 who've been beheaded, put on the mountain. So with the Hoover Dam explosion,
say a transformer at a base of the dam blew up yesterday. They say the dam was never in danger and no one was hurt in the explosion. Hoover Dam spans the Arizona and Nevada border. It generates power for 8 million people in Arizona.
that happened on July 19th. The Hoover Dam explodes. Derek Burrows tweeted the day of the Georgia Guidestones blowing up that the Hoover Dam's next.
Say this. You know what I've been talking about for so long.
You know what
right?
I said.
What dog whistles? These are signals to the world. These are the quiet signals. It is truly the dog whistle that says, here's what we do next, globally.
So first is Georgia Guidestones. So this whole video here, I did like a time lapse from the beginning to the present. The Georgia Guidestones, and then the Hoover Dam, the connections in between, what I was thinking about as I'm talking about the Hoover Dam being out west before it exploded, but I'm also talking about what's coming up next. When he says a whistleblower, it's the same as Petco 2. When the Statue of Liberty arm falls down, right at this point, and it looks like it's a whistle right here on that side. So if you know anything about Statue of Liberty, she's standing on top of an 11-pointed heptagram. So there's 11 standing on top of 11, which would be the 12th. And then there's the 12th, or there's the 13th, the one that has the 12s. So the Statue of Liberty arm is falling off as this is the whistleblower, and Derek Burrows saying whistleblower and showing you what's coming next. And that's why I'll put in there what's next, because these were explosions. No matter how they happened, who did them. The Guidestones blew up from the east. 13 days later, in the west, from east to west, lightning strikes. So these are strikes of lightning, not actual lightning itself, but can be rumored of it. And Hoover Dam explodes. So what's next? Will it be flash destruction, flash of lightning, back to the east side of America? Because I don't think the Mount Rushmore is next. I think that's the grand finale, or even the beginning. Whether that's hit first, but if it's struck right down the middle with an earthquake, well, that's God's judgment. There's no second 9/11 title. But as this video looks like when that place is hit, looks like the area, when you look at Lincoln Financial Field from 95 on Google Earth, you see the Comcast building. It looks like the windows of heaven are up there. And 17 JFK is right in front of the Comcast building, which is Chase Bank, and that's where the gold is. This could be a fake me out. People thinking that Lincoln Financial Field is going to get nuked, and that's the beginning of the second 9/11. But maybe it's only showing you that Abraham Lincoln, or Abraham in the system, got a wounded head. Because it is the football stadium, and Barack Obama did show up and showed the Lincoln behind him. And the reality is, it's not an actual bombing in Philly at all here. And then it would be literally the destruction of where this Lincoln is. See, Abraham Lincoln is in two spots. Abraham Lincoln is here at Mount Rushmore, and he's also here in Philadelphia, Abraham, the Link. It's called the Link, Eagle Stadium, where as you see this hit, it looks like birds start flying away, like the Eagles. Birds flying up. So apparently, it's been stated this is the Antichrist. However, he's still sleeping. His eyes are still closed, but he's not only is he catching fish in his sleep, that they're just jumping on his boat. He's catching, like, he's on fire. And that even looks like up on Mount Gilboa, Mount Rushmore, Mount Rushmore, the mountain's on fire. The explosion happened, but it looked like a Lincoln Financial Field football stadium. But it could be aiming towards this, because he already has a wounded head. And this portion is shot at the head. Looks like it's wounded. This is like the neck. Here's the nose. Here's the chin going up. As a beast, maybe it's showing you, and the shoulders down here. There may be a literal group of people from Philadelphia, actually from Philly. They may think that they are the Church of Philadelphia. It might be, maybe, coulda, who knows. Saul Jonathan playing the role in Philadelphia with that landscape back and forth. Fleeing to the mountains, because you're told to flee to the mountains. But you're also told to not flee from the fear of the noise. So when you're seeing this, you're from Philly, you're part of the inside, you know Kleck, you know the script, but you don't know the interpretation of Petco 2 because you think this is the beginning of the nuke starting in Philly and you're going to flee to the mountains. Well, if that's your plan, then I just want to let you know that, all right, well, fine. If you go from one Abe Lincoln, which is the link, to the other Abe Lincoln, which is from Mount Rushmore, and there's the wounded head there. And if you go inside here, and if you plan on escaping, like if this is the portal, because Jacob's ladder is right here, it is looking like a cranium, Red Sea, red, possibly. Golgotha, the place of the skull, literal landscape, spiritual. It's in your head when you no longer fear death and nothing. It's just because you know the script, you know the truth, and the truth sets you free. So if people are looking to escape and flee to the mountains, and this is the place that they are looking to flee to, I just don't think that's a good idea either. Because at this point, you may be saying,
And one day, you're going to be saying Revelation 6, and you're going to cry out to be stoned to death. You're going to actually cry out for the mountains to blow up and to fall on you. You'll be thankful to be stoned to death rather than meeting God. Verse 15, what is 15? The kings of the earth, right? These are big shots. Great men.
all these faces on my Google. So these are the people that I paid attention to the closest.
Fear. But God knows exactly in your heart what you fear.
So if you fear the interpretation of Philly being new, because Philadelphia having a little bit of strength, and maybe that was actually going to take place, but then it doesn't because the beast had a wounded head and did live and is no longer going to kill everybody. And so then, but you're going to flee to the mountains, and you're actually going to flee to Mount Rushmore. So then that would be the case. That would be the point where it would be similar to.
And guess what? He can even bring that what you fear the most upon you to teach you a lesson. Oh, you don't fear me yet, buddy? I'll show you. I'll teach you how to fear me. Look at, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. Isaiah 66. Isaiah 66. Jonathan Edwards preached. Jonathan Edwards.
You think that would be a good reason for her to freak out and maybe like, oh my God, he can see. Hey.
Because if you have the fear of the Lord, those things are minuscule to a Christian because God is more fearful. But if you choose the fear of evil out there, okay, rather than the fear of the Lord, God's going to make sure you get that fear of evil then. That's why you should have the fear of the Lord. That's a scary thing. It's so, then wait till you go through it. He's going to laugh at you then. And you will know what really fearing God means then.
Job 5:22.
Now go to Proverbs 15. Proverbs 15. Proverbs chapter 15 and then Proverbs 23. We're going to go to dip the tip of the finger in water. So not even a drop of water. Not even a drop of water. Just dip the finger in the water and just touch my tongue. Not my whole body. That's how scary hell is. All right, Mark chapter 9, verse 43. And if thy hand offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter into life maimed than having two hands to go into hell.
And hand always represents the work that you do. You do work with your hands. So cut it off. Cut it out. If you're doing those things with your hands, the work that you're doing, cut it out. If you're walking the wrong path, then cut your feet off. Cut off the path. Stop walking in that direction.
into the fire that never shall be quenched. It's better that you never use your hands again, guys.
Don't ever use them again.
Look at verse 45. And if thy foot offend thee, cut it off. It is better for thee to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be kept.
Halt. Like, hold it right there. Halt.
Thee to enter halt into life than having 2 feet to be cast into hell.
Stop walking in that same direction, that same path. Cut it off. Cut off your feet path.
It's better to, where you feel handicapped and crippled, the Bible says, than to burn in hell. Look at the next verse, verse 47. And if thine eye offend thee, pluck it out. It is better for thee to enter into the kingdom of God with one eye than having 2 eyes to be cast into hell fire.
Whatever you're looking at, your crooked ways, cut it out. Pluck your eye out. Get rid of it. Stop looking at things in that way.
Imagine that someone took out your eyeball. Would you be willing for them to do that? And God says,
what are you willing to do to be free? Pluck out your right eye so you can be. That's why a lot of people wear glasses. The right eye is plucked out. You can't really see.
You should be willing to do that in order to not to burn in hell. That's horrifying.
And the other flip side of that is the fear of getting people to pluck their literal eye out, the good one, the God eye, and replace it with an AI. And that AI is the eye that sees you. I believe that the ones that get their eyes plucked out, and whether they're in a gang stalk corporation or just behind the scenes and people in Hollywood and all that, they get their eye plucked out in order for AI to, Satan to see where they go, hear where they're at 24/7. And that's how the gang stalk corporation is so precise, because they do their movements to you, because I said, who even sees their tactics when they do things? Who's even watching them? Because who's keeping track that they're even doing their job, their tactics? Well, their own eye would be the other witness that they're doing it. And then they get to see your reaction through their eye. Or maybe they're tapped into your eyes too. Technology. One or the other.
Imagine you don't get to see as well. Not just the pain of removing it, you don't get to see. Laugh at you. Why? Verse 27, when your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. When your time of fear comes, and it could be on this earth, or even in eternity, God's going to make sure that you're going to go through that time, and you might even call him out, and God says he's not going to answer, and he's not going to hear you. Why? Verse 20.
Maybe he just won't be there. He's too busy resurrecting hell and going up to heaven.
When you meet God and talk to him, when you have a revelation or vision, this is the reaction. Look at Revelation chapter 1, verse 12. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. See? God directly spoke to me. Oh, and you saw him? Look at this. When he looked at that voice, verse 13, 14, 15, 16. That's the description of how God looked. And then you know how he responded at verse 17? And when I saw him, I felt the love of Jesus flowing all over my body. And
this is an admission, but the group is supposed to think he's being sarcastic, but he's really telling you the truth.
More alive than ever before. No, I fell at his feet as dead.
Well, that too.
And he laid his right hand upon me, saying unto me, fear not. Fear not. God had to say, fear not. That's scary. That's scary. God is a nightmare, believe it or not. Look at Exodus 20. Oh, God ain't a nightmare. I love him. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you fear the lightning?
What is considered from east to west? Lightning strikes. Strikes of lightning. Strikes of light. Lightning. From east to west. So far it's George Guidestones. Now it's the Hoover Dam. Looks like it's time to go back east. Statue of Liberty. Or the George Washington Monument, etc. You know, whatever ones are on the east side there. And then eventually jumping back to Mount Rushmore, where everybody's fleeing to the mountains. And you can see it afar off. I think John was looking at it afar off, seeing this place afar off on video through the YouTube platform. On July 8, 2022, east to west, lightning strikes. Powers of heaven are shaken. They are right now. They're being shaken. January 6, 2021. Justin did a video, was talking about Georgia Guidestones. I don't know if he ever did it. Talk about the set-off rate, setting it off. Isn't that a year and a half exactly beforehand? Time.
And these are a month behind you. And these are a month behind you.
That's what happens in hell. Hell is... So this is the day before the Georgia Guidestones were destroyed. I'm telling you, it's a wrap. I'm telling you the game is over. Why are we still playing? Actual meaning behind Pet Goat 2. Stephen James is saying this is 30 days behind you. John and Ben Noon and company were standing around the Georgia Guidestones exactly 30 days before they were blown up. And so for some reason I'm already recording the timeline here, the 30 days, even though it was 29 days, as he's saying 30 at this exact moment. I forget what church.
These are a month and 10 days behind you, John.
Apple. And then I'm seeing 7-6 here, but it's backwards and upside down before the flowering. It was cut down the middle, falling. But first, let me get to this, because as it's falling, as it falls, the video, as it shows it falling. But first, let me get to this, because as it shows it falling, and then the Georgia Guidestones falling, and George. So Georgia Guidestones falling, George Bush pointing F U. And then he points back to himself like, pay me. This strike could also be representing the mountain getting split in two, like Mount Rushmore, like God's judgment, splitting the mountain in two. Up at the top there. See this, I don't know, like a shark type looking. This shark here. Even with the fin and the back. This shark is right here at the Hoover Dam. This is what one of these blew up over here. Transformers. Eye, fin. And that's why. Looks like he's even knocking over this tower. Is that tower not leaning to the side? Then there's two looking towers here, like twins. These towers really leaning that far? I understand how they're standing up.
Pildash means flame of fire. That's a cool name. All right. If you want to call your boy Flame of Fire, then call him Pildash, okay? Would go, out he went in a puff of smoke. Poof! And then the devil,
I know.
he went back to Job, working on his why.
Was like just dogging me, because that's what he said. And Ellen Page, and they call that, by the way, they call that dead naming. Okay, that would be like you calling me Jamie.
Like the rabbit?
Which was my nickname growing up, which I don't like. I'm not Jamie just because everybody called me Jamie. It's not my name that was given. It's not who I am. And my last name is not the name that I was given by my stepfather. It's who God says that I am. I am who God says that I am. As if all Muslims hate Jews. As if, come on, there's so many Christians I know that hate people that are different. So many Christians I know that tear down people that don't believe the way they do, or don't look the way they want them to look, or think the way they want them to think. But yet,
Or read scripts the way that they read scripts.
Jordan Peterson, he's standing up. He's the moral authority. He uses a lot of big words. His videos, by the way, teleprompted, because the last couple of videos that I've watched him do, you could see him reading the entire time, and it's like there must be some kind of a reward for like how many big words.
Well, hold on, Jacob. You read a script too, right? You're reading. When you're looking to the right, you have your script over there. If you look up, you have it up there. If you look over there, there's another computer screen with the script. And then as you're that one directly behind the camera too. So don't all of you read scripts?
Can we put in here to make it sound like I'm so super smart? Maybe he is so super smart.
Remember when pride was a sin and Ellen Page? So Ellen, I don't know if it has any connection here, but I went down to where the Philadelphia, the Spirit of Enterprise is. You got Ellen here. Ellen Phillips. Look, Barbie's taking your saying, I'd rather die than to lie. Well, I'd rather die than delete. Elliot, I don't even know who Jordan Peterson is. I thought he was a Sixers basketball coach or something. Or the Eagles coach. He also looks like that same guy that you watch, Bart. The little guy with the circles, the glasses, and I think he does a show every morning. Has the same eyes, like behind a mask, possibly. But I don't know who this guy even is. It looks like Jamie Burton. So Jamie Burton, Bert, the turtle beside the head, Jamie, the rabbit, used to be called.
This is in Matthew 7. Enter the gate, for the wide is gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction. And many there be that find it, and go after it. But because straight is the gate, and narrow is the way that leads to life, and few there be that find it. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing. I'm a Christian, right? They look like it, they sound like it. Beware of them.